The campaign raises awareness of sextortion and includes this ad.
Let's talk about sextortion. That's when someone threatens to expose a sexual image or video to get you to do something like send money. Here are some red flags to look out for. Someone coming on too strong. Asking to trade photos. Or move to another app.
Here to talk more about the changes is Antigone Davis, who is the global head of safety for Meta. And it's not just the ad campaign or a crisis line, but there's also product features, updates. Can you talk us through them?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you three of the most compelling features. So one is the prevention of screenshots. So if you send a view once image or video, we're going to prevent somebody from screenshotting that image or recording that video. That's important because you're sending a signal that you want to protect that image and you don't want someone sharing that with somebody. The other is blocking the follow requests of potentially scammy accounts. This is important because we already block message requests even from just unconnected accounts for teens, but we want to make sure that we're closing down the avenues for these scammers to try to find teens on the platform. And then the other one is hiding the follower and following lists of teens from these potential scammers. The reason that's important is because once they have that image, they threaten to share with the friends and family that they find on those lists.
Antigone, why is the campaign being launched today and not previously, a year ago, when data showed spikes in this kind of activity that you're now trying to prevent and crack down on?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is building on initial additional protections that we had already launched. So recently we launched teen accounts that put teens automatically into private accounts and have our strictest messaging restrictions. This is taking it another layer out, and it reflects a change in the crime. It's moved to becoming a financial crime where people ask for more money, and with that, there's been a spike of this across the internet.
Antigone, how's the technology changed if there's a change in the crime? What my colleague Olivia Carville reported, for example, was in the case of Facebook in Nigeria, for example, technology is used as a counterance to suspicious activity. So you have the video, which we showed, but what's the role of technology here?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. The technology tries to identify potentially scamming accounts, and they'll do things like they see a new account that sends a lot of follow requests to a teen that is outside of the to teens that are outside of the area where that initial individual is messaging from or following from. Those are the kinds of signals we use. We use a large range of signals to identify these scamming accounts, potentially scamming. They're not scamming. If they're scamming, we're going to remove them, but potentially scamming accounts.
You're, of course, helping Hyde from these potentially scammy accounts. Why not let a teen just hide full stop their followers and who they follow?
Well, it's a good question. These are features that are important for connecting and finding the people that you're interested in, and we want to protect those valuable features for enjoying the app, but we want to find ways to make sure that they can't be exploited by these scammers.
You, I'm sure, face countless questions, and indeed your company and others face countless lawsuits now from families, from authorities that feel that what you offer in social media is harmful for children, whether indeed it's sextortion or indeed addiction. How are you fighting those fights? How do you feel that it's coming to you at a lawsuit perspective?
Well, from my perspective, the thing that's most important is to listen to parents and understand what it is that they're worried about and make sure that they feel that we have the protections that give them the peace of mind. So we know, for example, parents are worried about the amount of time that teens are spending on the platform. So when we launched teen accounts, we've now created it so that between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., they're not getting notifications to their account, and we're sending an auto reply saying, hey, this is time for sleep.
Antigone, I'm interested in the audience you're trying to protect and how they use the technology. You have the family of apps, largely smartphone-centric, but sometimes they're accessed through a web browser, right, on the computer. How do you adjust your technology and your policy for that, how people actually access your applications?
That's a really good question. One of the things that I can give you an example of is for screenshotting. So we are now preventing screenshots, as I mentioned, for certain types of image sharing. On the browser, you can't really prevent that screenshot. So we're just preventing them from actually seeing the image.
I go back to the point that you say you're listening to what parents, and indeed I'm sure some teens are saying to you. What about, as you see these legal efforts proceeding, do you in your heart of hearts feel enough is being done for the parents, for the teams using it? And do you think the legal way in which they're pursuing the claims is the right way for them to try and make change?
I think one of the things that parents are struggling with is a set of standards that they can understand for assessing whether their teen should use a particular app. One of the things that we've been pushing for is legislation that would require the operating system or the app store to provide apps like ours with the age of the user. That would enable us to ensure that we can provide an age-appropriate experience, and they could also set it up so that parents can not approve of an app download if they want to. These are the kinds of things we need to make it much simpler for parents.